Hi guys, welcome to Workshop Wednesdays, where every week we'll be teaching you how to make something at home. My name's Fern, and today I'm going to be showing you how I like to make paper. Making paper is quite a simple thing. You'll find lots of different techniques online. Today I'm just going to be sharing with you the technique that I use to make paper, but get creative, do your own thing, it's quite easy. So what will you need? You will need scraps of paper, a large tub or a sink, a blender, a rolling pin, a mould and decal, which I'll get to in a bit, something to soak up the water, so blotting paper or tea towels, and a clean sponge. So if you don't already have a mould and decal, you can easily buy them online, or you can actually make your own. If you just Google how to do it, you can use a couple frames and a bit of screen. So first things first, collect your paper. You can pull it out of the recycling bin. I actually, instead of recycling paper, I take it, I tear it up and I pop it in this bag ready for when I want to make my own. And yes, I'm using paper to make paper. So you want to fill up your blender about halfway with water and then pop your little bits of paper in the top. Make sure your blender is turned off at the plug at this point. Ideally unplug it just to be on the safe side, and if you're a little one, make sure you have adult supervision. You don't want to be putting your finger inside the blender, just patting down the paper on the top. So now it's time to blend. Blitz it for about 10 seconds, stop, have a look. If it's still looking chunky, blitz it for another 10 seconds. The longer you blitz it, the smoother your paper will be. I like seeing all the fun bits and pieces in there, so I don't blend mine for that long. Okay, so let's move over to the sink. Here I have my mould and decal. On the top I have the mould, that's the part without the screen, and on the bottom I have the decal, that's got the screen attached. So I'm going to pop it down into the sink, this way up. You want to pop it in a clean sink. Mine looks a little cloudy because I've already made a few sheets of paper, but here I'm showing you I've got some rose petals. This is when you can add all the fun stuff. So different things you could add, you could try out coffee grounds, you could try food colouring, dried leaves, dried flowers, bits of thread, food sprinkles, pencil shavings, eco glitter. Just get inventive. You can put all sorts of stuff in your handmade paper and it's going to look really fun. So I want my paper to smell nice, so I'm going to add some dried lavender in. Just sprinkle it about. Things are going to shift when you add your paper, so don't be too fussy about where you put things right now. So it's time to make your paper. Hold your mould and decal steady in the water, swish around the pulp that's in your jug and pour it out carefully. It's better to go a little rather than a lot at this point, as it's much easier to add more than it is to take it away. So I'm going to carefully pour it out. The thicker you do it, the thicker your paper's going to be. It's going to be a lot harder to dry out and to roll out. So a nice thin layer will do the job. Smooth it out with your fingers, and if you notice there's any holes, you can just take your jug and pour a little bit more in those gaps and then continue smoothing it out with your fingers. You can see me slightly shaking it around here in the sink. That's just to get a nice even spread, and then obviously pat it down with your hands just to help it out. So you may have noticed some of the petals have shifted around. I'm just going to carefully rearrange some of them so it's a bit more of an even spread. Once you've got an even layer, you want to carefully lift your mould and decal straight up out the water. Give it a slight waft just to get some of those drips off, and then a very, very slight shake. Don't shake too hard or your paper will shift around. Just a light tap up and down, side to side will do the job. So here I have a loose bit of screen that fits inside my mould and decal. I'm going to just press that down lightly just to keep things in place, and then use a sponge over the draining board just to push through some of the water. I've got this handy ink roller that fits perfectly inside. If you don't have one, persist with the sponge, it works just as well. So over onto a dry tea towel, take your mould and decal, and now I'm going to lift the mould off the top. Remember, I still have that loose piece of screen holding it all down in place. It's very important you leave that on at this point. So then you're going to carefully flip it over onto your tea towel. Remember, that piece of screen is protecting your paper from getting completely stuck to the tea towel. So place it straight down, hold your decal steady, and then using a sponge, again just go over, pushing through as much water as possible. You'll need to keep squeezing off your sponge to get rid of the excess water. After you've done this for a while, you might notice your paper will start pulling away from the decal. At this point, you want to carefully lift your decal up, using the sponge to just carefully push the paper through. I'll use the word carefully again, as you want to make sure you're not pulling at the paper with your fingers. It can tear at this point, so very, very careful movements. Ooh, it finally looks like a real bit of paper. It's time to couch. I know that's a funny word, but it's basically the process of removing as much water as possible from your paper. So I'm using a bit of muslin, but you could use felts, flat tea towels, blotting paper, anything that's smooth but will also absorb water. You want to make sure you're not using a fuzzy towel or anything too textured, as the paper will get stuck to it. So keep going, keep flipping it over, rolling it out. I'm using my ink roller. You can use a rolling pin. If you don't have one, a flat-sided glass bottle works well. Just if you're a little one, make sure you have adult supervision when handling glass. And there we are, a lovely sheet of soggy paper. Remember, it's going to dry a much lighter colour. Pop it out somewhere in the sun. I've got it on an artboard here as I don't mind that getting wet. You don't want to put it on anything wooden as the water will soak in and could damage it. So here you can see all those petals we added in. You can see where I didn't blend my paper for so long, it's still got lots of little fun colours in it. It's looking a bit crinkly, but if you just press it under some books once it's completely dry, you can flatten it out. There you go, that's how you make paper. You can use it for all sorts of fun things, gift tags, birthday cards, wrapping paper. Get creative with it. Recycling is great, but reusing paper is even better for the environment, and it's a lot of fun to do. Comment below if you have any questions or if you decide to make your own paper. We'd love to know what you've put in yours to make it unique. I can't wait to try out coffee grounds next time, as I'm sure that will smell lovely. We hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Make sure to tune in every Wednesday. We'll be coming at you with even more fun, creative ideas that you can do safely during this lockdown.